the AWS Security Specialty demo. I'm sharing my screen for the presentation. Is my screen visible for everyone?
Yes, right.
Okay. So AWS Security is the advanced enhancement for the AWS Essentials Basic Certificate from AWS. It's a cloud variant. It's more focused on the area around the security parameters, configurations.
Pratik, one thing, there are some people who's asking that what is a prerequisite before doing this security one? Is there any prerequisite or any knowledge is required to understand this?
Yeah, I have covered this in the slide. We will be shake hands to the
Sure,
prerequisites soon.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So AWS security is the certificate which provides you a validation for your expertise in creating and implementing security solutions with the help of AWS Cloud. This certification also validates your understanding of your specialized data classifications related to AWS data protection, its mechanism, its encryption methods, and how you secure internet protocols by using AWS mechanisms, implementing them in your final architecture. So AWS specialty course exam duration is 170 minutes. When we talk about its exam format, we have 65 questions. They can be multiple choice or some of them can be of the multiple response, meaning you need to select from the slider what is the correct opinion for that. It's cost around somewhere 300 USD, excluding GST. So we have some basic FAQs around when we talk about AWS security, like why should we take this exam? This exam is intended for those experienced individuals who were been into working into 5 years of IT security in design and implementing, or having 2 or more years of hands-on experience in AWS clouds. However, if you don't have the security background experience, with a little more effort, you can elevate yourself for this exam. Like this certification gives you skills and expertise for your multiple job roles, naming cloud architectures, database, and DevOps. You can begin with your stream of a career path onto DevOps as well. Since you post gone through the content of the exam, like you will be very comfortable to starting your career either into AWS networking or to DevOps or the database engineering for AWS. This will boost up your career as if this specialty exams will gives you the weightage and you are in a position to bring best practices and security solutions to your customer or would-be customer. This certification can increase approx 73% light cast of the resume. Like what certifications you supposed to done before this exam as per AWS certification. Or you may not require any prior certification to this. You are good to take it as a first go. However, candidates who were already AWS certified solution architect holds an extra weightage while going through these exams. Like another popular query is like what AWS should earn after attaining this. You will be earning, go for a stream like AWS certified DevOps engineer professional or certified advanced network security. My recommendation is for AWS certified network security. So it will be complete your profile with security and network. So you have both the backbone and perimeter security knowledge in cloud. Specialties are additional so that the professionals have to earn some extra weightage, like DevOps engineer or the network engineer. Here is the course outline. This is the advanced course for AWS. So the prerequisite to get this exam in a one go, or to have the basic idea how the AWS console looks like, is terminology. The learners were expected to have basic knowledge, that is how the AWS shares its responsibility model, general knowledge around what all services AWS provide, what were its deploying cloud solutions, how the security controls of AWS environments and workloads, how we do logging and monitoring in AWS. Further, it is expected that you were aware about its vulnerability management and security automation, its cryptography and key management, its identity management, like troubleshooting of security issues around AWS, and detection and incident response strategies. It is expected like you have the basic knowledge for threat detection and incident response. So if you take a overall look of these prerequisites, this more concentrate upon the working behavior of the AWS and some of the common basic technology baselines, that is cryptography, identity management, data lifecycles, multi-account and organization compliance, threat detections and incident response strategies, and the most important is like security controls for AWS environments depending on your workload. This SE2 exam prep topics contains 6 domains which deeply elaborate you on threat detection and incident response, its security and logging monitoring, its infrastructure and security module, and its identity and access management. If we go back and forth, like we are discussing about the prerequisite, so it expected you to have the basic prerequisite elemental knowledge of all these topics. Further, you can take the elaborative knowledge in terms of AWS cloud and provided best solutions in the market supplied by AWS. Domain 5 covers data protection. Domain 6 covers management and security governance. We have 2 more domains. We'll take them further. So we just start our cakewalk with the threat detection and incident response. So these all topics we will going to cover, like what is threat detection, what is incident response, what all incident response strategies AWS supports, how it makes difference to choose AWS, why we supposed to choose the AWS, what is design and implement incident response in terms of AWS technologies, what is security threats and anomalies that were AWS covers us, and how these respond to compromised resources and workloads. So if we talk about the very first domain, if we pick this in a peculiar like threat detection and incident response, AWS is designed in a manner to detect the zero-level threat to ensure the zero-day trust of your infrastructure. When I said 0-day, it means it not allow a threat to enter into the security premises of your infrastructure. It will give it to the some sandboxing at its end. It do the behavior strategy of the packet, and it reposts back you the behavior analysis according to its threat levels, and it mail you back into a good package. Like this type of traffic is not good for your environment, so you can take so and so corrective actions. And further, it will gives you the available implementation techniques, and as per its incident response plan, it will ensure like all those type of threats will be flagged up and will be highlighted before they become part of the organization. Another task statement under domain one is detecting the security threats and its anomalies by using AWS services. We will cover the security threats which all AWS detect. It's we have a 24/7 library and a 48 hours of session for updating the intimations from the recent threats. Any threat which matches the use case and the anomaly which came in. If it's in the development phase, AWS provides you the development link, like we will be going to cover in our upcoming fourth product, or this can be covered by this. Like so, every detection, threats, and security, which was till date came into the acknowledgement of AWS or further will be covered. The third domain will cover the respond to compromised resources and workloads. In case unfortunately due to the non-mandatory guidelines follow-ups, some of the resources got compromised or were newly introduced to AWS network and not been up to the benchmark and got compromised. So AWS provides you the architecture to how to respond on these resources. It will provides you the payloads and workloads and the badges like what need to be uploaded on them. This will be more focus on its vulnerability and incident response. This is the small model which it was being created earlier back in 10 years back, and it was then agreed and pre-framed several times, and now it has been the integral part of AWS shared responsibility model as a plan of incident response plan within AWS security. This is more focused to customer centric rather than the AWS. So it is usually the top to down approach where customers we shared the responsibility in terms of managing infra security. When it comes to customer responsibility for its security in the cloud, the customer data, it will analyze the customer data, its platforms, applications, how identity and access management has been governed. Like it does not allow directly the integration of the existing AD architecture into the AWS. AWS makes a check baseline within the application. So for an example, a candidate newly joined into an organization wants the access for the AWS admin. He may not be allowed the admin once he got the access to his timesheets or the payroll department and or other applications. The personnel supposed to qualify the AWS basic parameter admin line. They have one demo version exam for that. So once uh, it was been cleared and credits will be shared, then AWS will create the account at the vendor side, and then they will display that ID to back to vendor, and vendor can then further any supply manager can provide the specific roles to that person. Further, AWS governs the operating systems, network, and firewall configuration. Within this, it ensures the compatible operating systems were being installed into the servers, systems, and within network. It ensures like the adequate firewall configuration is being made at the customer side. It also governs the client-side data encryption and data integrity and its authentication, meaning it has complete information like what type of encryption is being used, what type of data integrity we are maintaining, what hash we are doing while transferring the data, and what type of authentication methods we are using. Like either we are using it the through license, through host names, through IP addresses, or through HIPAA. Then it further into the backup and filing system. It is having a server-side encryption as well. So it used to govern the directories of the file systems and the data directories. Further at the networking layer also, it involves some encryption integrity and identity checks. And at the AWS side, responsibility for the security, it governs the software dominancy, how the data has been commuted, where it is stored, how we are managing its database, and how we further providing access to that data, who can access it. Its hardware AWS infrastructure. This is the backbone belt which is supported by AWS. Through this, it ensures the speed, the data availability, depending upon the size and the license we have purchased. For example, we have 100 gigabytes of data and we want to have it sync within seconds. So AWS comes with the premium features which we can incorporate, and we can have those access to those type of data libraries, and those will be assigned to the our functional regions and availability. We have the dedicated availability zones which will provide the uplink so that we can upload or download such amount of data. Then it ensures like we have the edge locations, different edge locations. As we know, like AWS data center is not everywhere. So to come over the latency, it makes the availability zones across India, and then it is having the edge different edge locations. Can actually see what all different AWS availability zones available. It will somewhere come into the global infrastructure availability zones. I'll try to share that over here. So this is the slide where regions and availability zones for AWS is available. If we talk about Asia Pacific, it is having different eligibility regions and availability zones. For Australia, they have 2 zones. For Asia Pacific, they have 3, 4, 5 zones. For Africa, they have 1. For Middle East, they have 2. For Europe, they have highest number of regions. Over here, it's in a continuous planning. This data is not static. It keeps on changing. For example, if you see these red ones, for example, there is a red one over here in Germany. It says it is coming soon. So very soon we have one available T regions zones in Germany as well. So it's continuous, it's a part of its continuous improvement and planning depending upon the business and solutions. The global infrastructure of AWS is continuously going. If we talk about overall, as a in around the globe, it is having 33 launched regions. Launched regions means within launch regions, they having each multiple availability zones. Till date, it is having 105 availability zones, which were into those 36 covering the 29 wavelength zones for ultra low latency applications. This is the one which I was talking. like to cover the ultra low latency applications, means like the latency is supposed to be very low. So they make 36 zones. Currently, AWS has its market on 245 countries and territories, and we have 115 direct connect locations, meaning around 115 AWS is using its own infra. So all these informations were being pulled out directly from the AWS websites. No third party is available over here currently. All the information making to in India we have like it is launched back in 2022. We have a AWS region in Hyderabad. It is having its further three availability zone nearer to back to our slide. Why it makes a difference and what AWS makes so confident to have its AWS incident response being working adequately across the environment. So it governs the operations through its four aspects of AWS incident response. That is, it's incorporate the operation from its preparation level to its post-incident activity. Once it ensures that the preparation is being completed to run the operation successfully, it go for the detection and analysis for the data. And within that data, it used to inspect all the data that governs within the AWS inspection points, and it try to biframe its containment, irradiation, and recovery technologies. Containment means where it's supposed to keep the raw data or the data which is not being required, whether it governs its recovery and retention policy, and then post incident activity, it will again loop back to the preps. AWS security events preparation for involves few of the uh, services, infrastructures, and applications. Like AWS governs the prep through its AWS identity and access management. This rule over its identity, like who can access it, its access management, how someone can access it. It governs the resources metadata, meaning the data secure within the resources which were being deployed by AWS. It governs their billing part. Since it is the SaaS, it depends upon the usage, so it is cost effective. You have a flavor to choose with the billing part, like you want to pay on yearly basis or on the usage basis. It's provides its own infrastructure into three flavors. That is Amazon VPC, Virtual Private Cloud, Elastic Compute Cloud, and Elastic Container Services. Depending upon the business usage and the business capability within, the customer opt up the infrastructure. When it comes to its application, the AWS used to govern the incident management through its AWS code commit and AMIAS. You guys must be differing, like these all threat detection and responses are on all layer 7 devices. What it makes a difference with AWS? So, while working with AWS, an instant response is quite different because the very first thing is like AWS secured as a shared responsibility, meaning it not only take part of its own infra, as we see in the above slide, it also governs the customer side as well. It used to monitor all the data which it's going to support. So it's the kind of sense of ownership within the incident response. AWS customer tailorly crafted its services, infrastructure, and application domains. It governs the access part, it governs the scaling. When I talk about scaling, it means the size of the databases, servers, modules, then elasticity. At any point of time, the infra can be increased or decreased. Automation, all these monitoring and is no longer a manual effort with AWS. Everything is being pre-automated. It depends upon the license which we bring into on the table, and the AWS can provide us the a lovely architecture frame and its monitor. Further, like AWS services, we have some services which help us to make our infra more secure and more integrated. For example, AWS Security Hub. This is the AWS solution which comes with the feature of AWS Security Finding format. That is, suppose we are using 10 services at 10 from AWS, different AWS services, solutions around for archiving, backup storing, blockchaining, cloud operations, content delivery, database migrations. So we need to make them into a one format for our security hub. So with this AWS Security Hub, we can actually pull out the reports, and with AWS Security Finding format, we can convert them, read them, operate them, process them at under one roof. Further, with all that data, we can utilize Amazon Detective feature, which automatically pulls the data from the resource and provides you the AWS security findings. And further to it, we have Amazon Event Bridge, which provides you the sequential information of all the events happened in the particular resource, and it will guide you on the event-wise documentation, log findings, and all those stuffs for the better AWS for the security proposal of for that particular infrastructure. This is the example of how a AWS security format look like. It contains the source directory information. It contains detailed type from where the source hubs were imported, and then it finally gives you the findings. You have an option to manually change the attribute filter values. Like you have an option like you can change the format of the final report. You can stress upon all those headers, all those columns where you can find format perform according to your auditing requirement and the company SOC 1, SOC 2 report requirements. So it is very useful in the compliance and security assurance. That is pretty much from my end for on the AWS Secure Certified Security Specialty demo version. Thanks for bearing with me. Hope it is interactive. Any doubts or sessions will be welcomed. Go ahead.
Hi Pratik, this is Sandesh.
Go ahead, Sandesh.
So Pratik, I just want to know like how to onboard the log sources of AWS to SIM solutions and all that. Are you going to cover those parts as well?
Those were not being part of the onboarding's resources for this particular topic, but I can definitely help you on the other side here.
Okay. Okay.
Any more questions, please? So it's a very good solution for good exam to opt out. It will gives you the insight and the features, navigations, options. It can reduce the operation cost up to 60%. Running cost up to 60%. It will increase your backup logs, backup features. It will decrease your backup delay, and with the AWS retention policy, it will also cut down your storage cost as well. Let them stop sharing. Any further queries of anyone?
Can I go for AWS security after completing solution architect?
Yeah, that's the baseline. Yeah, that's the recommended one. If you are currently opting for AWS solution architect, select solution. They named it as AWS solution architect, but it does not have the complete essence for the architecture role. It only gives you an introduction of the uh, company standard solution which AWS is currently having. So it is definitely recommended to go for AWS security.
Okay, thank you.
And if you look a closer look to that exam, it will they named it as like that AWS Security Architect Associate. That is not an expert level exam.
Okay, it is for associate.
Yeah, it is for associate. It gives you the basic idea of the architectural knowledge around AWS, like how IP addressing data formats, how all those stuffs happening, how you can uh, actually create some identity access for your team, how you can pull up your existing solution on AWS. So the question which Sandesh asked is actually uh, get covered within that AWS Cloud Architect.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
They have like within AWS, we have a very elaborated knowledge and content around the Docker pulling, its maintenance, its monitoring, all those X and Y's around those stuff. Right. Let's take it like a movie. Like we watch the movie, then it's time for introduction for us. So this is Pratik. I have 12 years of industry experience within cloud and security domain. I'll be into this corporate training from last 7 years, and I'll be guiding you on this AWS and other platforms. Uh, choosing it, choosing the flavor from the cloud, like we have Azure, DevOps, GCPs, current all the players in the market. But the baseline for to go for the choosing the security in terms of cloud is the best choice among those is AWS because it's because of its readability, its lab accesses, its modules, and its operational cost is minimum to all those other players. That is why it is dominating 60% of the market in terms of cloud. In the Gartner uh, graph also, AWS governs the security cloud infrastructure onboardings across the globe. I would love to be introduced with every one of you. So let's take this opportunity. So you can start one by one and give me a brief introduction of yourself. It can be your name, your professional background if you want to share, or else you can share your hobby. When it comes to my hobby, like I interested in writing novels and doing the technical research on. So let's start with Chiranjit, or it's Chitrajit. Raghav, do you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, Patik. Are you audible? Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hi, Patik. Sorry, some issue in my mic, so I was not unable to answer immediately. Yeah, my name is Chetharjit. I am working as a network engineer. I have 10 years plus experience in the IT industry. Uh, Currently, I'm working in as a network engineer. So I wish to be to more exposed in the clouds like AWS, Azure. That's only my intention. So I don't have any knowledge about AWS. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
We'll take care of that. Next, Raghav, go ahead. Shilpat. Samir. Osha. I think people's were being busy or somewhere around. In that case, we'll end the session for now. We'll see you in another upcoming sessions. Thanks for joining, everyone. Wish you good luck for your day. Thanks, sir.
Hello.
All right.